Hey YouTube land, Tycondrius here doing another action figure review. Now today I am doing the third figure from the wave of figures that I've gotten. I already did a double review for the Veteran Guardsman and the artist proof version. So this is a quick review for the Traitor, is it called Traitor Guard, I believe. Yeah, Traitor Guard, as depicted on his name on the side of the box. So we have a quick look at the box. So you can see an image of the character on the side of the box. You have the Warhammer 40,000 Darktide video game logo here. On the back of, behind the figure, you can see the base that they come standard with. I haven't taken it out, but it is exactly the same as this base, which is the one that came with... Actually, I don't think I even took any of the Imperial Guardsman's ones out, so this is probably the same one that came with one of the Space Marines. So it's the exact same base. Flipping around the back of the box, you can see an image again of the figure. You have a kind of a logo for this faction, and then you have just the Darktide name again, and then you have all the legalese stuff on the bottom of the box. Box is fairly standard fare. It's pretty much the same thing you get with a lot of the McFarlane boxes. They're just done in different deco. And onto the figure itself. The figure is an awesome looking figure. Has a very is it Dead Snow? If anyone's seen that film, it's the one of the zombie German soldiers, and it has a very feel of that going on. Even the helmet kind of has that more World War One-ish kind of style. It has a big plume on it. The plume, I think, is a separate piece, but it is glued in place, so just be careful of that. It doesn't move or anything. It's in a kind of standard spot. The only accessory he comes with, if I can get it out of his hand, come on, let go, is his Imperial Guard las gun that has been modified to Chaos. So you can see the symbol here, and the symbol on his his right kind of breastplate here. It has it's the 8 ways of chaos. So you have like the 4 main chaos gods and then all the smaller gods. So the 4 main chaos gods in Warhammer 40,000 are Nurgle, Slanesh, Tzinch, if that's how you pronounce it, and Khorne. So these guys are like dedicated themselves to the chaos gods that are from the warp, and they've modified their armor accordingly, and they've been, you know, cursed basically, so that's why the faces and skin and all that kind of look as mottled and gnarly as they do. So this guy does reuse a lot of similar parts as the regular guardsman. So I don't have the artist proof one with me because I've actually started taking it apart, but from what I can see, this whole piece here, this upper torso and lower torso, are all the same. The main difference is, I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it, but from here and up here at the shoulder is it's a separate piece. So this is actually glued onto that, and the strap then goes around this, and that strap is glued into place. Whereas this one, it is the same back piece from what I can tell. They just added on this extra piece that's been glued into place over it. Even though lower waist is the same, the difference is it has a skirt piece over it. The legs are the same except for I don't think even the knee pads are different. No, the only thing that's changed on these guys is the shoulder guards, or the shoulder pauldrons, which have all the spiky bits on it. So again, just like the guardsman, it's glued down here. It's the same arms, from what I can tell, just has the different pauldron on it, and these gauntlet pieces. So from what I found when I was taking apart the artist proof guardsman, this glove piece is actually a separate piece. It's just glued on over the arm. So if you heat it up, you could probably pry it off. It's glued in place, so you will have to pry it off. Another interesting thing, I know this is kind of deviating from this guy's review, but I did find that when I removed the artist proof guardsman head, The helmet is all one piece, but this face with the gas mask, excuse me, the face with the gas mask is like a front plate. So the helmet, they could easily do a whole bunch of different ones and have a different bunch of heads. So I'm going to leave this guy over here in the background while I review the rest of this guy. So getting back on track, he has all the same articulation points. So the shoulders can move up. These pauldrons are glued down here. So they do get in the way of his dual, or not dual joint, but doing a two-handed pose with the rifle. The hands are the same. Now, this more open hand is the same hand that comes with the artist proof figure. Even like there's no difference in the gloves. It just has this part which is different, which is glued over this arm. So the arms for the most part are the same, just with added sculpted areas. You have the waist piece, has all the same articulation, has these stick grenades on them. I have the same waist piece. Now this guy's a bit more hindered in the splits because of the skirt piece. So it is going to hinder him moving his legs forward, because it is a fairly solid skirt piece. It's not, sometimes what they used to do is do a split on the side of it, so it would move out of the way. You could probably try doing that, but for the most part it is a very solid piece and it's going to get in the way of the movement, unfortunately. Dual jointed knees, the swivel boot cut with the hinge, peg holes on the bottom. It's the exact, as I said, it's the exact same sculpt with some extra details. The head is different. The helmet, I would almost suspect, yeah, the head on this one is a full head, not just a face plate with the helmet bopped onto it. So you have that. He does hold his gun quite nicely in his hand, as you saw earlier when I was trying to pull it off. But as I said, it is harder to get the two-handed posing because these shoulder pads kind of move in the way of the articulation. But all in all, he's a pretty cool figure. If you army build these guys, there is two variants. There's a artist proof version of this guy, which I think is pretty much the exact same as this figure, just done in grey, so you can paint it up to your heart's content. And then there's a chase variant of this figure, which has a fully enclosed helmet with kind of three, the same way this guy has the goggles. He has triple kind of a goggle thing going on, and it has a rebreather. So for size comparisons, we will bring in the good old guardsman and traitor guardsman. I'll bring my tape measure in a second, just so you can see the height. He does stand a little bit higher just because of the plume on the top of his helmet. So I just bring in my tape measure. He does stand more closer to the 7-inch mark instead of the kind of 6.5 that they went with for the scale. Technically, these guys should be 6 more than 6.5. There's, like, you can easily just say that it's a different planet, what have you. Now, one thing I didn't do with the regular guardsman when I had him for his review, so I didn't showcase him with some other 7-inch scale figures. So if you wanted to do a crossover with guardsmen and aliens, here he is alongside one of the NECA predators, this Chopper, or sorry, not Chopper, it's Scar, sorry. It's the masked version of Scar. And I'm going to bring this guy in kind of a slightly more running pose. If I just get him in, he's going to be awkward. So here is the Night Cougar alien from the Aliens line. And I'm going to just grab another alien figure if I can. Actually, what I'll do is I'll grab one more McFarlane figure, who is handy. And it is the Black Adam. It's not the comic one, it's the one from the Endless Winter, I think it was, line, the one that had the Build-A-Figure, which I haven't done a review for yet, but this is the Black Adam figure. So you can see they do stand taller than they do stand shorter than a normal 7-inch scale figure. So the Predators do tend to stand a little bit taller than them, which is kind of cool. Oh, and one final thing, because he is a Chaos Space Marine, or not Chaos Space Marine, a Chaos related character. If I just move him off to the side, move this guy back, bring in the good old Chaos Space Marine that McFarlane have released. So you can see the height on this guy. So he almost stands nearly as high as a Chaos Space Marine. It's just probably, if he didn't have the helmet on, he would be a little bit shorter than him. The Chaos Space Marines are supposed to be taller, so it is what it is. But overall, it is not a bad figure. The detailing, and like, you could go to town adding extra paint work to him. He doesn't have too much in the way of paint applications. He has grey paint here where the chains are. Yes, this is a painted application as far as I can tell. I don't think it's sculpted. It could be, but it looks more painted. These spikes you could probably repaint. His shoulder spikes have a bit of paint on them as well. They're actually slightly dark gunmetal grey. His gun could do with a wash, I'd say, or something, just to make it look a bit nicer. You could even paint the strapping on the back of it, make it look a bit nicer. The grenades also could have done with being painted. Pouches aren't too bad, but a wash would have made them pop out. You have like this unpainted strap on his legs. Like I said, they're not fully painted in the terms of paint applications, but they are decent for what they are. But if you wanted to go to town, you could probably spruce them up with a little bit of paint here and there. The face is probably the best painted thing on him. As you can see, it looks very gnarly and very typical kind of McFarlane sculpting. I mean, they did a great job on him. I don't know if he's a named character in the game. He could be just based off a named character. The game hasn't come out yet at the time of this recording, so I think the Veteran Guardsman is possibly based on someone as well, because they're the guardsmen. You play as guardsmen in the game, and there's a couple of characters from what it looks like in the game, and they're basically up against hordes of these guys, and I think Space Marines come in there at some point. There will be probably different Xenos races come in, but overall it's supposed to be like I think it looks to be not a multiplayer online, but it looks like to be a squad based type thing, kind of similar to how Left 4 Dead looked, at least to my eyes from the trailers. That's what it gives me the impression of, kind of like Left 4 Dead, if people remember that game. But overall, it looks pretty good, and this figure is pretty sweet. I'm glad we're getting some more kind of non-Space Marine, just non-Space Marine characters. I do hope they expand on that going forward, but it is what it is at the moment. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed this quick video review for the Traitor Guardsman, or Chaos Guardsman, whichever way you want to pronounce them, from McFarlane Toys. And as always, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Cheers, guys.